Hey everybody, it is Deanna with toolsofenergyprotection.com, your energy shift expert and Akashic Records advisor. How's everybody doing? Can I get a thumbs up or wave? Let me know that you're on with me tonight. This is the second time I'm doing this on Facebook through Zoom. So totally new thing for me. Want to make sure we're coming through. I'm looking for the live broadcast here on my phone, make sure that it's coming through. But if you all are with me and you can give me a thumbs up, let me know that you're here. That would really be helpful. Otherwise, I'll have to go away and try it again. So many technological things to learn. Let's see here. Okay. So Becky, can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear? Okay. Okay, 1 minute, I'm gonna test the sound here. Just wanna make sure that everybody can hear. Okay, great, okay. All right, everybody, thank you again for your patience. Learning new things is always wonderful. I'm pushing in advance. They've made some new advancements to Facebook and Zoom and being able to talk back and forth. So this is super duper exciting. Today is Tuesday, August 31st, 2021. It is hot. So I put my hair up tonight. I want to thank everybody who came on last night with me to talk about Hurricane Ida and how we as light workers can best help in our capacity as light workers, highly sensitive people, and empaths. It is so super important in the times that we are living in the days that we are living in, that we begin to level up and become the light workers, starseeds, highly sensitive people that we were meant to be. I've been talking about this for a while. During COVID, when it first started, we got a big burst into that, lockdowns and all that other kind of stuff. We were forced to look at our poop because we had to stay in place. It was a big time for everybody to look inside emotionally. Now, we are a year and I don't know how many months later. If somebody knows, how long it's been, I think it was March when we went into COVID, but somebody had to remind me. But anyway, so here we are, and we've progressed in time, we've progressed in space. And there is a new up level to the game that we're being asked to play as human beings. So if you're watching this and have no idea what a sensitive starseed empath is, that's okay, because you're here, which means your heart is open and you're open to receiving a message. So my message tonight, what I'm asking you is, are you in purgatory, or are you rising out of the darkness? Because our world at large is going to split in half emotionally and mentally. And you know, you can think of it like this way, split in half, but it's literally going to split in half. This is part of a genesis. This is part of a rebirth of all of those of us that came here in this time and space to be of service to others. Deep breath in. So over the years, I've seen many people wake up. What does that mean? I've had some people say, Deanna, what does it mean to wake up? So an empath is a person that can totally feel someone else's emotions within themselves. Sometimes because they've been through it. Sometimes they get spidey senses. And they feel that emotion in their body. It can hurt. And if we don't know how to purge that emotion, we'll hold on to it. So the desired outcome is that you can feel or sense what somebody else is feeling when they're in pain so that you can understand that it doesn't mean you have to bring that back to yourself and hold on to it or beat yourself up with it. So some of my students, and including myself, have been involved in the past with narcissists. Sometimes it's our parents. There's quite a few of you waking up that are telling me, hey, you know, I didn't realize that when my parents treated me this way, it was narcissistic. And now that you talk about it, I get it. Well, that's good, because that means you're waking up. You're waking up to the fact that you were born a beautiful, divine creature from the creator source of all and built out of Earth Mother. So it's the clay that we're built out of, the carbon, and the soul comes from God's spirit or source. And it creates a divine being here in this planet, experiencing things at this time. This means that you're not just about the 9-to-5 gig. Okay, if you understand what I'm saying about, it means that you're not just the 9-to-5 gig. Can you give me a thumbs up, smiley face? Oh, thank you. Becky, she says the beginning of March of last year when COVID started. Yes, thank you. So March, April, May, June, July, August. So that's almost a year and a half. So what I'm saying is that all of you that are empaths, you felt other people's feelings and maybe not understood it and just thought that's the way you were. And oftentimes you're raised in a house full of narcissists and sociopaths. And I don't want to go into a lot of definitions tonight. So if you don't know what those two terms mean, go look it up, either in a dictionary or Google. But basically what it means is that your self-esteem has been ground and ground and ground until you don't know who you are. And you will often go into relationships that are push-pull relationships. You often have no boundaries. I think what else? It's about push-pull relationships, no boundaries. You'll put up with a lot. Oh my gosh, will you ever put up with a lot? Because that's what you were taught. You were taught that it was okay to put up with other people's shit. And you put up with it for years. And it made you feel lesser than. You might be with a spouse or a significant other and you just took it and took it and took it until maybe you couldn't take it anymore and you would explode. And that's not a balanced person if that's what you went through. And so this time that we're in right now, and if you go back and watch my videos since apparently March of last year, maybe before that, I'm going to talk about time progression. This is the time. That's one of my catchphrases. This is the time. So this is the time right now that things are changing. Our minds are changing. Our hearts are changing. Our souls are changing. Because we've been wearing this disguise for a long time, the disguise of being lesser than, low self-worth, low self-value, low self-esteem. While on the inside, we're this huge, gigantic spiritual being. Woohoo! How many of you out there know that you feel that inside? You just want to burst out. You're like, I am wonderful. I am dynamic and I'm tired of taking your shit. I've talked to more people this week in relationships that have told me that. And please know that in no way, shape, or form do I ever advocate that somebody should separate or somebody should get divorced from somebody else. But right now, I wouldn't be too surprised if the divorce rate is really high. And of course, there's logical black and white people that would say, well, Deanna, we were locked up for a year together and we drove each other crazy. And so naturally, that's going to cause a lot of stress and anxiety. People can't live together, and so they're getting divorced. Okay, fine. But I will tell you, as above, where the frequencies are, so below. As above, so below. I'm getting some hearts over here. Thank you for that. So a lot of times our 3D world, our carbon world, is mimicking what's happening in our spiritual awareness, because the two become one. So if you imagine an hourglass, you know, the top of the hourglass is connected to God's spirit or source, and the bottom is in this 3D world. And that is who we are. And so we got some extra bonuses here. And I do see that you all are posting that you'd like to have a reading down here. So I'm all excited about that. Last night I came on here, it was my first time, and it managed to put in the closed caption, and tonight it's not doing that, so I'm not sure what happened. But anyway, I would love it if I could, if any of you know, can reach out to me later how to make sure it stays on closed caption, and a lot more people will watch it at night, you know, when they're going to sleep, because they'd rather read than see it. But anyway, off topic, shiny object. So what you're seeing in this current world is a division, many kinds of divisions. Many kinds of divisions. The division that I would like for you to pay attention to is the one that's about your very soul. You can lose your physical body, and your soul will return to God's spirit or source. But if somebody gets a hold of your soul, it's a totally different matter, because that's where true purgatory is. And I will explain to you that there was a man named John Milton. He wrote a book, and it was adopted by a particular church I don't want to say the name of, and they utilized it in their early literature to establish different levels of hell or purgatory. Interesting how literature has an effect on us. All right, if you will hold on one moment, I want to look up a little bit more information, because my guides are telling me that I'm missing something. Let's see here. Yes, I will get to the readings. Okay, so purgatory has different levels. Oh, that's what they wanted me to give you. Okay, so John Milton, he wrote a book. Okay, he wrote a book called Dante's Inferno. And Dante's Inferno is different levels of hell. And like I said, a church that, you know, I really don't want to name, you can go figure it out. Took the early writings of Milton. This is history in motion. It's a wonderful thing. That's why I'm telling you all now. We're in motion of history, so don't be afraid. We're just writing books again. So purgatory is different levels of hell, and it's about different levels of torment, supposedly for the soul, once the soul crosses over and goes home to God's spirit or source. And I will tell you that if we have an extended time, I can talk to you about different degrees of my understanding about what hell, you know, would be. Okay, there is a place on the other side where spirits that didn't do what they were, or souls that didn't participate and learn in the lessons they were supposed to in the lifetimes they were living, will go. And sometimes that place is where they can review things. Other times they get to rest. And some of them, they don't get any rest, and they get slung right back into the human body, into another human body. And there's also a space I'm understanding or human beings, once their souls cross over to the other side, may spend some time learning that if the soul doesn't go home, go to the other side, cross over, go back to God, go to heaven, whatever label, nirvana you want to put on it, then that soul is stuck in this 3D reality. And so they become an earthbound spirit. And people call them ghosts. That's another whole subject all in itself. But these souls will be stuck between going home and here. And not that many people can see them or talk to them or know they exist. That to me is a living hell, because the soul doesn't disappear, it just keeps living. But purgatory is a whole different subject, and I believe it's the book of Enoch talks about all the different places he went. So if you want to read up on what I perceive to be more along those lines, go read that. In my early work, I was given the ability to cross souls over that were a little bit darker or lower vibrational, demonic, satanic, dark energies, dark forces. And those were souls that were actually living in what I would say was more like Dante's Inferno. But it's how far they were distanced from God's spirit or source. And not knowing that they could get back to God's spirit or source, that they become attuned or atoned or at one with that love frequency. I hope that makes some sense to you. If you're resonating with that, give me a thumbs up. And then I'm going to move on to the high pitch whine, how that's going to help us to get out of purgatory, how to rise through that darkness in some very easy steps, and we'll do some readings. So if that really makes sense to you, can you give me, okay, good. I'm so glad. Again, you all, I'm so grateful when you join in, because early in my work, when I started it years ago on Tools of Energy Protection, I would talk about all these things that were happening on the planet, and people were like, I don't get it. And one of my good, close childhood friends said, you know, you've got to bring it down a little bit so that we can understand it, so it's not so quantum physics-y, if that's a word. So thank you for the feedback. So again, what I'm asking you to do tonight, what we put on the feed was, it's time to decide. Are you rising out of the darkness, or are you going to stay in purgatory? Okay. Purgatory is different degrees of the soul being tormented. And I'd like for you to think about what you're exposing yourself to on a daily basis. What foods are you eating? What programs are you watching? What news media are you looking at? How are you feeding your mind every day? You know, for me, for a long time, I would look at social media only because I was so tired of looking at the news. And then I realized that what I was feeding my brain was what was in the social media only. So you have to be awake, alert, and aware. But this battle that's happening on our very planet right now is a battle for our very souls. So if your desired outcome is to be part of the light, every time these Schumanns happens and these resonant frequencies happen and I talk about them, it's because the high-pitched whine, the pressure in the ears, the twill is being raised up to a new level. And they're actually two different things, but they're the same thing. So Schumann's is a frequency heartbeat of the earth, and the high-pitched whine is part of that frequency, but it's not the only part. But if you can't sleep at night, if you've been going to bed, like before the hurricane hit, and I went to bed at 11:30 and I tossed and turned until like 1 or 2 in the morning, looked at the Schumanns, I'm like, oh, that's why. If you're feeling that, then this high-pitched whine training I'm doing tomorrow night is totally for you. If you just hear that little twill in your ear every once in a while. So I'm going to talk about that because there was a beautiful woman who who got onto toolsoferenergyprotection.com. She clicked on personal sessions. She looked for the one that is a coaching session where we just talk about what's happening in your life and see if I can help you, if it's a fit for both of us, for you to work with me, if you're going to get something out of it. And she gave me so much information that I was totally unaware of, because I'm constantly ascending and connecting with God's spirit or source and bringing that information down and working with my spirit guides and doing everything I can to make sure that I fulfill my mission. Now, there's a lot of stuff I haven't done. I promised a book in September. It's still in process. Nobody told me that I'd have to rewrite it because there's stuff missing, and then I want to get the tools out to you all, and there's getting all the shipping stuff sorted out. It's just a lot to process, plus my normal everyday job and momming and, doing the dishes, the laundry and all that stuff. So I'm going to switch over to find her questions so I can share them with you, because it is so super important that even, if you're not sure about the high-pitched whine training, that you understand what's happening, because the high-pitched whine training, the frequency, the twill in the ears, has so much to do with this up-leveling of, are you going to come out of the darkness, or are you going to stay in purgatory? Because please hear me, being cut off from God, spirit, or source at any level is hell, because you don't have love, because you don't have guidance, because you can't see a vision. Where there is no vision, the people will perish. A house divided amongst itself will fall. So let this world divide into the people who believe and know the truth, the love, and the light, and the people that don't. Let the people that want to feed into the drama, but we have to come out of that. And that's why I was laughing about earlier. There's so many folks that are contacting me. They've been married 20, 30 years, and they can't stand it anymore. And they got to get out. I do the best I can to encourage them to work on their relationships, or find a way to resolve them, get some counseling, help, therapy, ministers, whatever. But there does come a point in time when you got to quit and cut bait. I can't remember that exact saying, but when I was learning to fish when I was little, somebody said sometimes you just got to cut bait. And I get it. So if you're having, again, these are some signs to look for about waking up. If you're having trouble sleeping at night, if you sleep for 3 hours and then you wake up and then you can't get back to sleep. For women that used to have night sweats, they didn't for a long time, they're getting them back. That's coming back. If you're feeling confused, if you're feeling frustrated, if you're feeling depressed, if you have high levels of anxiety, yes, it's a good idea if you've had that in the past to get some help. Some people need to take some medication. Other people do acupressure to help themselves when they're dealing with depression, or some counseling. But what I'm talking about is these people that are coming to me and they're like, I feel it, Deanna, I feel it. And I'm not sure what it is. And I feel like I've been cut off from God, but I have something burning inside of me. What's happening? Well, what's happening is that COVID, and I'm going to call this crap like it is. I hope this doesn't get taken off YouTube or censored. But when COVID came along, my guides gave me a code of the DNA sequencing, or the genetic coding of this particular dis-ease. And it is 0111 32A B64C3. And you're like, what the hell? That's the codes, okay? That's the hexadecimal and the zeros and ones. And what this dis-ease is designed to do is separate your mind from your soul. So part of the disease works on making it so you can't think. If you've had COVID out there, how many of you just couldn't think? I mean, it was, like I know several people that are very intelligent people, near genius level IQ. They had COVID, they came back, and they're like, I can't focus. I have the CRS disease, can't remember poop. And that's part of this dis-ease, is to separate our ability to think, our conscious awareness, our third eye and our amygdala in the physical body from our ability to connect with God's spirit or source. That's one of the things that's a fight for your soul. So if you are one of those listening and you're like, I feel like that, like I can't talk to my guides, I feel disconnected from God, I used to have it, now I don't have it anymore, go to Tools of Energy Protection and sign up for an angel reading. It's half an hour. It's the least expensive investment you can make. And I will reconnect you through the power of God's spirit of source to your guidance, to your guides. If you've never been connected, we can do the same thing. It's easy and you will feel lighter and you'll feel brighter and more connected. Last Thursday at the For Heaven's Sakes bookstore, a lady came in, she's like, I don't feel connected. And when I looked in her eyes, I didn't see a sparkle. I didn't see her light up. I didn't see her being alive. And she said, I just used to talk to my angels and I can't anymore. And she'd had COVID. So through the power of God's spirit or source, we realigned her frequency and her eyes lit up. It's like she didn't really, but it's like she had cataracts over them. And when we got done, no cataracts, not literally, but figuratively. So if that is you, get yourself over to toolsofenergyprotection.com, click on readings, click on angels readings, and it'll take you over to my calendar and then you can pick a time. And if you can't find a time that works for you, then go to info on the same webpage, get my email address and send me an email. Because it's so important. That you understand who you are. All right. So I'm going to move over to, my guides are telling me that I need to talk about the high pitch whine. They're also asking me to talk a little bit about last night's video and then do the readings. But they're telling me that there's somebody in the feed who has a question. So I'm going to switch over real quick and do some questions. And after I answer the questions, then sorry, but I'm going to tell you, if you ever do this work, your guides will talk to you. And you're attempting to do a broadcast. And in this attempt to do a broadcast, you're attempting to do the readings and a bunch of other stuff. Let me double check here. It looks like somebody's saying they're having trouble getting signed up for it. Just one moment, let me check on it. While I'm doing that, if you all will go down here and put questions in so we can answer the questions. Make sure this is turned on. So they're having trouble getting registered for it. So let's see here. I'm telling you, the dark side is an amazing force. I'm going to make sure that it's actually set. Oh, no, isn't that interesting? Okay. So the person who gave me the heads up about they're still having trouble getting registered for it, super duper appreciate that, because it looks like for whatever reason that it did not get set up. So I'm going to set that up right now. Nothing like on the job training. Okay. So thank you for telling me that. Okay, so you should now, I've already had a few folks register, so it's kind of weird how all of a sudden it just disappeared magically, but that's the dark side. Okay. Okay, so for those of you that were trying to register and couldn't, I'm going to ask you to go back and try again. Let me just make sure that that's going to follow all the way through. Okay. So it looks like, go back to the website, make sure it's working. It's a nice thing about being able to do your own tech work. You can check it. Let's see if it'll let me do it now. All right, so it looks like now you can sign up for the first. So thank you again, Elizabeth, for making that very clear, to be able to sign up for that. And you only have to sign up for the first time. So you don't want to sign up for more than one time. Double check that again. So put your questions down below while you're waiting on me. I know it's a little bit challenging when I'm live, but you all love me, right? Let's see here. Okay, I do see the availability to register. If for whatever reason that you cannot register and you want to get registered for the high pitch training, then what I'm going to do is ask you to go over to toolsofelnergyprotection.com, click on About, where you can go, sorry, right down here, I got two cameras, go right down here to Facebook and private message me, and my email is right on here. So you all have access to my email. You can just send me a little email, tell me things aren't working for you. Okay. Now, let's answer some questions. Okay. All right, I'm gonna look at some questions and see what we've got here. Then we'll talk a little bit more about this high pitch wine, why it's important to you, why it will help you rise up out of purgatory. There it is. Okay, Facebook's got a really cool place over here where I can. Okay, here we go. So what are the questions we have today? Jessica says her mom has been out. Gotta get myself a better stand here. Okay. It says, my mom has been out of her property today and it's been very stressful today. So I'm going to assume that she had to move from one property to another. Okay, Elizabeth says, meant to be according to our calling versus the should be that was placed on us. Absolutely. So we are called to a certain thing. If you don't know what that is, when you were a kid, you probably always did it before they told you it was bad or wrong. I know I used to walk around the classroom and talk to people, see how they were doing instead of sitting in my desk and doing my homework. They thought I had ADD. No, I just had healing abilities. Okay, okay. COVID was beginning March of last year. Hi, Ron. Good to see you. Daniel says, I'm feeling lost and in the dark place. I could use a reading. Okay. Oh, Daniel, sorry. Daniel. I'm going to ask you to go to toolsofelnergyprotection.com, click on angel readings and book with me as soon as possible. I will not be in the office on Friday. I'm taking a long weekend over the holiday coming up. But Daniel, one of the reasons that you're feeling like you're in a dark place is you actually have entities, dark entities, just like attached to you, kind of like fleas on a dog. I don't mean to scare you, but when I tap into your energies, I just feel it all over. And misery loves company. So the lower you sink in feeling bad within yourself, the more these beings will come and connect into you. So asking you to reach out to me, we're going to clean them all up. We're going to put you into a nice energy bubble, into a shield, and you'll be able to then shift your frequency on the inside. So we've got to, I'm going to be funny, but Daniel, we've got to get you like a dog and dip you in a flea bath. So it's not a reading you need, it's a clearing. Let's see here. Michelle says, I'm confused about a lot of things. Michelle, you've had a major change in your life. There are some things that have to change that you're not wanting to let go of. The sooner you let go of the things that are being literally ripped out of your hands, the faster the change will come and the better off you will be. I know it doesn't feel like it right now, but that's where it's at. Daniel says, I heard there was a way where you just experience a second death, that your soul just completely becomes energy and is no longer a conscious form. Daniel, I believe that that is right. There are so many different levels of transformation for your soul that I haven't studied them all yet. So a second death sounds more like a religious formation, a religious framework on a spiritual concept, and that happens. So Daniel, here's what I do know. There is a place where you can no longer be a conscious form, where you can become like just 100 tiny little light balls, and then you amalgamate into the other light balls. And so there is some thought that when you cross over to the other side during what you're calling the second death, that you amalgamate back into a consciousness of God's spirit or source, and you have no form. And what you are, it just becomes with everybody else. So it's like if I take a drop of water, that water droplet is a water droplet all by itself. But when I drop it into the ocean, the mass that makes up that little ball of water expands and matches or mixes with or becomes at one with the other molecules. So yes, that exists. But how many times we have to go through whatever we have to go through to get there, I don't really know that, because it's not something that I've asked the boss before. It's not something he or it and I have talked about. And that's a huge subject, so I would rather not do it on the fly here. But Daniel, if that makes sense, can you give me some thumbs up? Because it is possible. It's just further down the evolution of where we're at. Okay, great. Thank you, Daniel. I look forward to seeing you soon. Okay, hi to Robin. Hi to Deborah. And Michelle. Hi Angie. Hi Antonia. Hello. Angie says, I felt a shift around 3 a.m. on Saturday morning. Yes, there's lots of shifts going on. If that's when it's happening for you, do the best you can to ride with it. If you want to join us in the high pitch wine training, I am going to talk about when you can't sleep or when you feel these shifts or wake up at 3 a.m., how it is that we can flow through them instead of it driving us crazy. Because I asked the boss that the other night. I'm like, what the heck? Why are you giving me these energy shifts? I go to sleep, I'm exhausted. I either can't get to sleep or I fall asleep for a couple of hours and then I'm awake and then I toss and turn and can't do anything. What the heck am I supposed to be doing at this time? Because if I'm waking up at that time, there's got to be a reason. So we're going to talk about that. Let's see here. Elizabeth, you said you were having issues getting signed up for this. I changed that, so you should be able to sign up now. If you can't reach out to me, you know how to do that privately. Let's see here. Okay, Angie says, I thought that COVID attached itself to areas of inflammation. Not real sure about that, but COVID does have some programming in it to shut certain things down in the human body that disable it. Okay, you've got your sense of touch, your sense of smell, your hearing, your sight, your taste, and your third eye, your amygdala. So if it shuts any of those things down, you can't process your world properly, you can't function in your world properly, and you have a hard time judging things. So if you lose your sense of smell and a fire breaks out, you might not leave the building in time, or if there's a poisonous gas, you might not be able to smell it. So just think about how horrible that is. And COVID is designed to shut different things down in different parts of our bodies. The main one I don't like is disconnecting from people from God, spirit, or source. Okay, Antonia says, any word messages you have for me? Antonia, I'm not sure why, but what I hear for you is your floor is wet. So I don't know if you're having plumbing issues in your house, mold or something, but they say your floors are wet. So I would check underneath your sink, around your toilet, any place where water flows into your home or your business, because it's like mold is growing. So something is going on there. I hope that makes sense to you. All right, the next one says, why have the guys found it necessary to upgrade the COVID download? I don't understand what that means. You'll have to be more plain about that. Sorry, didn't make any sense. Hi, Craig, good to see you. Oh, Elizabeth says, to be clear on COVID, the variants. Okay, so if you look at any dis-ease, human dis-ease, the little amoeba, if you will, has its own beingness. Whoops. It has its own beingness. It has its own life, its own life form. So when you have the, sorry, somebody missed it. Anyway, got beings amorphous. So COVID as a variant is just something that happens naturally. So let's see here. Now, I don't have a degree in microbiology, but I do have clients who do have degrees in microbiology. And what they told me is that if you imagine an amoeba, most of us looked at those in high school, you know, it's just this little thing, looks like that, little hairs on the outside. And it has its own life. It doesn't have a soul, but it has its own life, its own programming. And part of it, you know, it is to survive. And so it will shift itself in order to survive. And that's just normal for any little thing that we call a dis-ease, because if it's dis-ease, our body's not at ease when these things come in. But they have a life and they have a purpose. And so they will morph themselves so that, you know, if they find something that kills it out and they can code it and come back, you know, that's just a little being itself. So I don't think it has anything to do with anybody monkeying with it, although I'm not saying it can't happen. But it's just normal for these little things to, you know, shift and change and grow and quite quickly. Let's see here. Hi, Rosemary. Thank you. I got your present. I received your present. Let's see. You're welcome, Michelle. Jessica says, definitely feeling sleeplessness lately. Sleeplessness lately. Okay. So Jessica, what's happening more than likely is you're getting downloads. You're not quite asleep yet when you tune into them, or they're being given to you. So it causes us to have restless sleep. So I recommend you get registered for that class. Let's see here. So yeah, Jessica says, any guidance on sleeping? So attempt to go to bed earlier, take a saltwater bath before you go to bed, and get yourself a little bit of a routine. Turn off all the electronics at least 30 minutes before you go to bed, because your eyes pick up the light. It thinks it's light outside and it's less likely to sleep. Get at least 20 minutes of direct sunshine every day. And then well, these are things I've found out anyway. And then at night, when you're ready to go to sleep just, or go to bed just a little bit earlier. Give yourself a chance to get fully asleep before the downloads come. Marilyn, hi Marilyn, this is the first time you've joined us. Welcome aboard. It says, does fluoride dumb down our pineal gland? Do you have a word for me? Okay, Marilyn, from what I'm understanding, fluoride does cause the amygdala, the physical part of your body, or the pineal gland, it does cause that to break down a little bit faster. So one thing you'll find is a lot of products that have supposedly been tested and approved, what they find is a little bit won't hurt you, but a little bit over time, a lot of times will hurt you. So again, I'm not a scientist with fluoride, but what I've read and studies I've looked at, the answer to that is yes. And so do the best you can to keep away from it, because it will deteriorate that pineal gland over time. Kind of like sodium lauryl sulfate. Sodium lauryl sulfate was in almost everything. And about, let's see here, 22 years ago, it became this big topic, and people started saying, you know, sodium lauryl sulfate causes male pattern baldness. It causes your retina to pull away from your eye, and all these other things that I don't know if are true, but this is what was being said. And so many people looked at the back of their detergents and they said, oh, look, sodium lauryl sulfate's in my detergent, it's in my toothpaste, it's in my underarm deodorant, and all these things I use on my body. And I certainly don't want those things to happen to me, so I won't buy any products with it in there. Well, some really large companies, excuse me, some really large companies that had that in their product. By the way, that's what makes soap look like it has bubbles. They saw that. And so literally overnight, their sales plummeted because people wouldn't buy that product anymore. So they went back to the drawing board and they took sodium lauryl sulfate and they broke up the molecular structure a little bit and came out with sodium lauryl sulfate. So anyway, you've got to watch what's in your products. There's something called the Dirty Dozen. I teach that in my dowsing class. Oh, wait, no, not the dowsing class. Oh, the Awakening Academy, the Spiritual Awakening Academy, which I'll be releasing here for sign up in a few weeks. Teach you those things, because there's a lot of, there's 12 chemicals that are in a lot of things we use on a daily basis. And like I said, a little bit won't hurt you, but if you take a little bit every day over time, kind of like strychnine, eventually it's going to get you. So I hope that makes sense. Thank you, Marilyn, again for watching, and I really appreciate it. All right, let's move on here. Let's see here. Angie's saying something about the popping noise in her house. From what I'm getting, it's a change of frequency in your home. So the electromagnetic frequency in your home is causing that popping sound. That's what I'm getting. All right. You are welcome. Who's saying thank you down here? Oh, Marilyn, you're welcome. Okay. Probably more than you wanted to know. All right, let's go over very quickly the high-pitched whine, and why that's so important to bring you out of the darkness. If you haven't received a reading yet and you want to get a reading, or you have a question for me, go ahead and put it down here in the comments below. I will look one more time before ending tonight's broadcast. Okay. Okay, so high pitch whine training. I saw a lot of people go over to toolsofenergyprotection.com, click on the high pitch whine training, and then they sorry, the guides are talking to me again. Oh, actually, I have a visitor in my office. That's cool. Yeah, not a physical spirit. It's a spirit being. Anyway, so with the high pitch whine training, a lot of folks went over there and they went to high pitch whine training, and then they clicked on listen here. I saw a lot of people go over there and hear the different twills. And then a beautiful woman reached out to me. She's like, I'd really like to sign up for this training, but I want to make sure it's right for me. And she had a whole bunch of questions, and I wrote them down because I thought, well, if she's asking, that means you all are probably asking. So please pay attention. First thing she said to me was, there's this ringing in my ears. It's annoying and it won't go away. That's not the first time I've heard that. If you have a high pitched whine and it's getting louder and louder, I can understand that it's annoying and you want it to go away, but it's a divine gift. It means you're being called. It means you have access to higher level information more than most people on this planet. It means you have access to healing that other people don't. It means you have access to understand your downloads more easily. It means you have access to all kinds of frequencies to let you know what's happening and where things are at. So it is a beautiful, beautiful gift. Absolutely gorgeous gift. So please don't throw that away. And I will be more than happy to tell you anything I can about this high-pitched whine. It's new to me. My guide started working with me back in April, and I was going to put something out in May, and I got sick for a month. So yeah, I kind of went underground for a while, and now it's a time for me to teach it. I don't know if I'm going to teach it again live, but I certainly will be teaching it live starting tomorrow night at 7 to 9 Mountain Standard Time. Get yourself signed up. Again, if you can't, there's an email address under the About or the Info page, and just reach out to me. Tell me you can't get registered. I'll send you the link. So what the high pitch whine is going to do is going to teach you a language that you already know in your soul, in your divine self. It's a language of frequency, like somebody plays a piano or a guitar. Ooh, look, I just got cold chills. And it makes your heart feel good, and you understand the language of music. You know, you can speak French and your friends speak Spanish, and neither one of you can really talk more than a couple of words, but if you go listen to some music together, there's a bonding that happens. So the high-pitched whine frequency is a language that may seem foreign to you, but you know it deep down inside. And what I'm going to do is teach you to tune into that high-pitched whine. I'm going to teach you to tune it in like the old radios. In the old days, believe it or not, we used to have radios with a little knob on them, and you turn the knob and it would go back and forth to find a different frequency, which was a radio station. And in this high-pitched whine training, I'm going to introduce you to it first very slowly. The first night is going to be about tuning into it, understanding how to tune into it, and being okay with it. We're not going to just jump right off. This is a basic class, very basic level. I won't probably. The guides are telling me that I will teach an advanced level of this. The basic level is just to introduce you and how to turn the knob to go, and tune into the right frequency. And yes, there are different frequencies. There's a frequency for physical healing that I've actually used on myself. It's quite lovely. I had a pain in my body, and so when I was first learning to tune into these frequencies, it's like keys on a piano, and I was finding which key resonated with me the most. And my guide said, that's the healing key frequency, ding, 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 like the singing bowls. And I said, okay, if that's a healing frequency, can I use it to heal my entire body instantaneously? And they said, yes, but not right now because you're just learning. So they showed me a bicycle with little training wheels on it. And I said, okay, so let's heal a small part of my body first. And I said, let's heal my toe. My little toe was driving me crazy. It would hurt and throb at night, and I had no idea why. And I asked them to put the frequency so that whatever was out of alignment or dis-ease in my body would be brought back to atonement of health, and that toe would quit hurting. And so I visualized that happening, and I tuned into that frequency, and the next morning I woke up, it didn't hurt, and I thought, all right, it doesn't hurt because I've been asleep and it's had a chance to rest. When I lay down the next night, when it used to throb and hurt, it didn't throb or hurt anymore. It stayed that way for several weeks. Now, I'm sure there's something that's irritating it that's caused it to hurt again. But imagine being able to tap into a frequency that you can draw back to your physical body and learn to utilize as a healing tool. Amazing, no? A lot of you have been getting downloads. Okay, what's a download? So it's when there's information coming from your divine self or from God's spirit or source or from the angels, however you see it coming. And it's information that your super conscious mind, so you have a conscious mind, a subconscious mind, and a super conscious mind. And if this mind doesn't know how to navigate the world that's in front of it, it's going to be in trouble. So our conscious brain is like a little tiny computer, like our cell phones, without internet. And it processes everything that comes towards it. And then when it sees something new that it doesn't understand, it reaches back into the subconscious mind and pulls it forward to the conscious mind. And if you want to know how that works, watch people when they get into a relationship. And if one of them had a family that they grew up in that was not very pleasant, not very happy, not emotionally supportive, when the people first get together, everything seems fine. But the longer they're in the relationship, or if they get married, then their subconscious mind pulls forward, this is what marriage should look like. And it goes back to the patterns of the parents or whoever raised them. And that is projected by each person on the other. And that's usually why there's a lot of problems in relationships, because we're running old tapes. But in order for us to rise up out of purgatory, in order for your soul to be at one with God's spirit or source, in order for you to navigate what's happening in this world, you've got to be able to tune into that frequency. Those downloads are coming to you and they're stored in your subconscious mind. You got a whole database full of them. And some of them you understand, some of them you don't. And for those of you that are tuned in, and you can say, wow, I know exactly what to do because I got this download. Great for you. Love you. This is wonderful. But for those of you that go, I see images on my eyes that kind of jiggle, you know. Some people get downloads in different ways. They hear things, they see pictures, and they don't know what the hell to do with it. Well, that's programs, that's information being stored in your subconscious mind. And if you don't know how to access it, join the high pitch whine class. The other question she asked me, she's like, well, what happens if I don't hear the high pitch whine all the time, whether it's just every once in a while? Then go with your gut. Go with your gut instinct, because we are going to take the time to develop that connection in this class. Okay, this is a basic level class. Go with your gut instinct. If it feels right, join up. I'd be glad to have you. And this is leading edge technology. Nowhere else on the internet have I found any place that is teaching you how to not only access it, but to tune into it and know how to bring it into your 3D world and how to utilize it. Leading edge. So, she also asked me if she couldn't hear the high pitch whine all the time, how fast would it be until she could hear it constantly? And that depends on how much you develop it. Like anything else, you know, if you got a saggy muscle, you got to bench press to get it to come back, or do push-ups. She wanted to know about waking up in the middle of the night. She tells me she wakes up in the middle of the night and she hears the high pitch whine. And that's because the frequency is being brought to us to tune us, attone us, and teach us things. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding, what we'll need to know, things that we have to have in order to carry our missions out. And if you don't know what your mission is, but you hear the high-pitched whine, this is a good place to figure it out in this class. Okay, so the human body is designed, my understanding, to sleep about 3 to 4 hours, and then it wakes up and then it goes into a new sleep cycle. So when it goes back to sleep the second time, if you get all the way asleep, that's when the downloads will happen for those of you that don't normally wake up between your sleep cycles. If you're not able to get back to sleep, it's annoying because it's like the information's trying to come in, your conscious brain has locked it out, and there's a wrestling going on between the two of you. So come and learn how to stop the wrestling, get the downloads, and go back to sleep. Let's see here. Then she said, next question is, she wanted to know if she had to go into a state of meditation in order to understand what's happening with the high-pitched whine. Yes, although you can do some journaling and that can help. So we're going to work out the dynamics of how do you work with it in real time. Do you have to meditate? Yes and no. It's a different, you go into a different headspace in order to work with these things. And that's what I'll be teaching you. And you're going to be able to reap the benefit of hearing, of knowing what's happening, to be able to process it. My spiritual life, my ability to see the 3D world is totally different. That's the other thing. She's like, will it change me in any way? Yes, you're going to see the world a little differently. Not a lot, just a little. And she was afraid that if she did it, it was going to be too freaky. It's not too freaky. I've been working with it. I go into a meditative state and I bring the energy into the body, into parts of me that need healing. And then I have to drink water. I have to eat right, exercise, you know, all the things that the body needs, but it will move the dis-ease out of my body depending on what's happening. It's a new tool. All right, I'm going to see if there's any more questions. And then I want to talk to you about the hurricane, the residuals, and what we can do as light workers. If you have any more questions, let me know. Let's see here. Okay, if you did ask a question earlier, sometimes the feed will hang it up a little bit and I won't always see it in here. So I apologize for that. Again, if you're interested in learning how to access these frequencies and to tune in your divine gifts that you already have, then ask yourself, is this something that you're ready to embrace? If the answer is yes, join us. It's a very basic class. We're not going to go very fast. It's going to be okay. And God's spirit source, your angels, your guides will be right there with you. You can use your gut instinct. You know, if your gut instinct's like, yeah, let's go do it, you know, do it. You know, if your gut instinct's like, ooh, no, then don't. Real simple. Now, last night I came on and I did a live, especially for people that are light workers so that they could understand how to help during the time of Hurricane Ida. Go watch the video. If you're on Facebook, scroll down. If you're on YouTube, go back one. And again, today's August 31st, 2021. If you're on Tools of Energy Protection, it's the blog before this one. And I'm going to implore you to watch it and to learn how you can be effective on this planet as a light worker right now. Something only you can do as an empath, starseed, highly sensitive person. Not everybody on the planet can do what we do. So get up off your proverbial spiritual butt and find out how you can benefit everybody else without money. Now, if you want to make a donation, on my page, there's a link to a place to make a donation. Not for me, but you know, for the victims of the hurricane or the first responders. But this is the time for you to learn and to level up and become part of who you're meant to be, which is to lift those up who need that lifting. There's lots of stuff on that video. so I'm not going to revisit it. All right, one more time to look at the questions here. Let's see. Okay, I do not see. Okay, I see one more question. Deborah says, am I still in line? I don't know, are you standing in line? Deborah, you're funny. Type actually what your question is down there, and I am going to do a card reading for the collective consciousness. All right, let's see what's going on with the collective consciousness tonight. And the collective consciousness, in case you don't know what that is, it is the mental consciousness of everybody on this planet, man, woman, and child. And it all feeds up kind of like a lava lamp. It kind of floats at the top. And then our consciousness will pick that up. My guides are telling me that the collective consciousness is in fear right now, 57%. You want to talk about a time where, you know, we need light workers more than ever? It would be now. And if you don't know what that means also, and you don't want to take the high-pitched line, a little too scary for you, I will be releasing registration for the Spiritual Awakening Academy about the second week of September. And that will teach you how to dowse, how to intuit, how to read the Akashic Records, how to clear your energies, how to connect with your guides, God, Spirit, Source. It'll talk about things to do for your physical body. It is an amazing academy. I've taught it before. People love it and generally tell me they hate it when it ends. Well, they don't like it when it ends because we spend so much time together getting to know each other, and how wonderful people find that to be. So, all right. Let's see here. Oh, Deborah says still connected. Yes, Deborah, you are still connected. Absolutely. So let's give you a little lift. So she wants to know if she's connected to God, Spirit, or Source. There you go. That should be better for you. Give me a thumbs up if that's better for you. Had a little bit of a titch of a kind of a closed channel there. And I do have one more question down here. Raven says, I've been having heart palpitations lately. I have had an EKG done, all normal. Could this be the energy shifts? They are totally random. Oh, Raven, yes, absolutely. So thank you for the question. Important to know that, Raven, when these shifts happen, we are bioelectromagnetic frequency, and so is the Schumann's resonance. And so what's happening for you is a shift in your bioelectromagnetism. And I have had so many, I'm going to make a note to myself, because I've had so many empaths, starseeds, and highly sensitive people tell me the exact same thing you just did. So thank you for giving me an additional something to share with people. What a blessing it is to have you aboard, Raven. Thank you for that. I'm going to pull up. And share with you the electromagnetic frequency and what that looks like. And I'll share it here so you can see it. This is what I was sharing last night, Raven. So if you didn't join us last night, if you can go either back to the Facebook feed about the IDA, or over to Tools of Energy Protection and look at the post for yesterday. Share the screen here. Okay. Here we go. So okay, Raven. Okay. So Raven, what's happening with these heart palpitations? The first thing I'd like for you to know is thank you for getting yourself checked out. I will always tell people, when you're dealing with spirituality, it's a good idea to always have your physical body checked out. Okay? You are a mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, and energy body all at the same time. So it's a good idea to make sure that you clear everything out that you can in your 3D reality before you start seeking other answers. I hope everybody understands that. Okay. Spirituality is great. Frequencies are fantastic, but I'm just learning how to connect into the high pitch whine to heal the physical body. You know, not there yet. Not being able to touch people in instant healing yet. All right. So Raven, if you're still with me, please give me a thumbs up or a heart or something so that I know that you're watching and can absorb this information. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to make this as big as I can. I know sometimes it's really hard to get it to translate over to Facebook if you all don't have a laptop where you can see this, but this is Schumann's resonant frequency, resonance, you know, vibration. And right here, I just ran it. So it is this is 8 o'clock in the morning, and where they're doing this, putting this data together, and it's over in Russia. So it is right now I live in Colorado, it is 7:29 p.m. right now. And it's about 8:30 on this. So that tells you that their time difference is about 12 hours minus 1. But right here, you're seeing the frequencies more or less going back to a building state. This is a spike in the frequencies, which means building, 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 and then it'll stop. And then this is the residue. So it's like building, 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 impact, right? I don't know how else to describe it. Good thing I don't have the translator on tonight because I couldn't spell Anyway, so if Raven, what I'd like for you to begin to notice is get yourself a journal or voice notes or email yourself or whatever it is you do, and take note of when you're having these heart palpitations. I also desire you check your water intake. That is so super important. I don't get enough water. I do due diligence to do it, but I find that I don't. So first, Rachel, what I'd like for you to do is find out for your body mass, how much water do you need to drink a day? And then how do you start where you're at now and up level it? Because let's say you find out you need to be drinking 1.5 gallons of water, and the next day you try to drink that 1.5 gallons of water, you're going to drown yourself because your body can't process it. You'll have to build up, but do your due diligence, do your research. And this is like 16.9 fluid ounces. And I know, Becky, you gave me a cup, but it's still at home because I washed it. But this, you know, drinking this or having this near, that's going to help your heart to fluctuate in a better manner. So that's the first thing to check. I have had clients in the past, that's all it took, and then they didn't have the heart palpitations anymore. But if that is not you, and you're getting this, you say to me, I've been having heart palpitations lately, I have had EKGs done, all is normal. Could this be the shifts in the energy? Absolutely, because they're totally random. So when you keep your journal, I'd like for you to look at the Schumanns and see when it spikes. And if you're having heart palpitations at that time, if you just take notes in your notebook about what days and times you're having these palpitations, and then go look up the Schumann's frequency, you're going to find it. So basically, here we are at this is 8 o'clock Colorado time, and this is Wednesday. So if we go back 8 o'clock Colorado time on a Tuesday, right here, I bet you had some yesterday evening if you're in that time frame. And then if you go back 10 hours, this is when we were having a lot of this. So you would go back like 10 hours, you know, and any time before that, if you were having a titchy time with it, that's going to be part of this. So I hope that makes sense to you. Let's see here. Deborah, you're welcome. You're very welcome. Okay. Raven says she's diligent about drinking her water. Good. check your electrolytes also in that. But she says she did and she had them again last night. Okay, so keep track of that. And then have a look at the Schumanns. Rachel, are you getting the high-pitched whine in your ears as well? Let me know. Just put it down in the comments if you're getting the high-pitched whines as well. Raven, I hope I didn't lose you there. Okay. So if you're Raven, if you're getting the high-pitched whines ringing in your ears, let me know down below in the comments. Anyway, so here is the critical frequency. This is our heartbeat of our earth. Okay, normal looks like this. Okay, so Raven, since you're getting the high-pitched whines and you want to know more about the heart palpitations, I'm going to ask you to sign up for the class, because we can get you into that state where you can actually go from not hearing it to hearing it, since you've had it before. Any of you that have been watching that you have those high-pitched whines off and on, but not consistently, this class will help you to move into where you can receive it more consistently. So that's good. So here again, the high-pitch, the heart palpitations, I would run a rough guess. Let's see, here we are about 1,600 hours. Oh, let's see. So if you started having heart palpitations around 4 a.m., if you were up at that time, or the day before around 10 or 11 o'clock at night, then this is part of the reason why. So good for you to know. All right, so I'm going to stop the share on this. All right, so Valerie, welcome aboard. So if you're just watching us, you're just joining us here, I'd like for you, when the video quits, you just go up here, it says Deanna Gloyd, and you can click on that and it'll take you over to my channel. And if you click follow on there and make sure your notifications are on, every time I come on live, it'll pop up and let you know. And meanwhile, I'm going to do a reading for the collective consciousness. And the answer to the question is going to be there at the beginning of the video. Just so everybody knows, I will be available tomorrow. I do have some times available if you'd like to get a clearing or have your Akashic Records read. And on Thursday, I'll be at For Heaven's Sakes Books live and in person, so you can come see me if you'd like. Can't give you a hug, but we can see each other. And then Friday, I'm going on vacation. Just a few days out in the middle of nowhere. All right. So I'm going to do a reading for the collective consciousness. Ooh, just got lots of cold chills with that one. Okay. So the collective consciousness, again, is the thoughts of every man, woman, and child on Earth, on the planet. And I pulled one for those of us that are starseeds, empaths, highly sensitive people, those of us that are light workers on this planet. And it says, be assertive. In silence, you will find power. Claim your leadership role and take action. You know where to go, what to do. You have the courage and the confidence to succeed. Okay. So that's for those of us that are awake, alert, and aware. So go get them. Now, for the rest of the population, it came in upside down, and it's a heron. This one, oops, here we are. It came in upside down. So that means the rest of the collective consciousness is experiencing this. In not a positive fashion, patience. So they're running out of patience. And they're having trouble finding balance. It says, take time alone to find balance. And they can't find balance when they're taking time alone. And it says, patience will bring rewards. It certainly will. And a lot of people aren't patient right now. They're just rushing, trying to put out the pain, trying to feel better. We all know how that goes. All right, well, so this Thursday at For Heaven's Sakes Books, you can call 303-964-9339, book an appointment with me. There's only 5 time slots left available, so make sure you call and book first thing in the morning. Toolsofenergyprotection.com, click on personal sessions. Angel reading if you need to get tuned back up to God's Spirit Source. I'll be so glad to help you. And tomorrow night, woo, we're starting the high pitch wine training. Again, it's a basic class. It's very simple. It's not scary. These are things you're already hearing. It's just, how do you tune in? How do you get yourself to a point where you understand what the wine is so it's not annoying anymore, so that you're able to bring in the divine gifts. You're able to bring that divine love in and to gather. You know, it's like all this gold is out there, and all you have to do is just gather it, and you can use it in your lives and change your life and transform your life in ways you never thought possible. So join me, please, and those that have already signed up. And if you have trouble registering, please private message me here on Facebook, or click contact or information on my website, get my email address, and send me a message. Okay? So thank you so much, everybody, for coming on tonight. Love each and every one of you. Big hugs and kisses, and I hope to see you here Tuesday, 6 o'clock Tuesday, next Tuesday, right here live. And we're going to talk more about the Akashic Records and what can the Akashic Records tell you about your life. So I'll see you next week. Big hugs and kisses.